chapter 19, and we had completed till verse 24. So I'll just give you a recap of verse 24 to give an understanding what exactly is he saying. So he says, he's asking the Brahmanas over there, that is Parikshit is asking the Brahmanas who are sitting in front of him, all the sages and the saints and the disciples and everybody over there. So can they tell him about his immediate duty? So he says, can you think about what is it that I should be doing in this last few days that I am going to be alive? The answer which I know is that I have to have single pointed devotion to God. That is something which I know. But how do I attain that? Was the question that was asked, and he needs to find the answer for that. So what is it that a person should do just before he is about to pass off? Which means before death, naturally quite a lot of people know that they are dying. And because they know that they are dying, what is it that they should be doing so that their death is good? And second thing, that they do not get entrapped into these multiple life streams, which means rebirths. Alright, so this is what he wants to know. So we will start our today's satsang with the next verse. So, can you just mute the person, whoever is talking? Chitti? So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 19, verse 25. At that moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who travelled over the earth, disinterested and satisfied with himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed as if others had neglected him. Verse 26, the son of Vyasadeva was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulder, forehead and other parts of the body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell. So here we have an introduction of a very, very important character for Srimad Bhagavatam, because through him we are going to understand the most important stories of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He is the one who is going to give this knowledge and understanding to Parikshit. That means the appearance of Sukhdev. Sukhdev, as you know, is the son of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is the person who has written the scripture. I'm sure you know that. I don't have to tell you that. Now, here is an individual who has got first-hand knowledge from his own father. We had already covered his birth and various other things in the past. I will not go into it. But let us try to understand who this individual is. Sukhdev is around 16 years old, as mentioned in the scripture. Now, as you know, a 16-year-old is a person who is a very raw kind of a person. In your own life also, when you were 16, naturally your own gait, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you express yourself, your bodily features are different than when you are 25, 35 or 45 years old. I hope you get the point. The difference lies in the way you are, the physical structure. Now when you study the physical structure of a person, that is the physiognomy, that we say how that person is. Today, as you know, across the world, people use this analysis for identification of the individual. In India, are they not taking your thumbprints? You have to put your thumbprint. They will see your iris. They will see your gait, the way you walk. In China, they have advanced far more in that, where they are doing gait analysis, GAIT, gait, the way you walk, the way your body structure is, your entire face, that is, including retina analysis. Some places they are also doing the analysis of your, now inside, which means the way your say nerves and the blood vessels are. So this is the way. So the analysis of that. So today we are doing it scientifically. In the past, there were people who could look at a face of a person and recognize who this person is. You got the point? And there are certain characteristics which define that individual. I am sure you have read in other places where a person has a broad forehead. You must have heard that thing also. Somebody who has a broad forehead, somebody who has got long ears. I'm sure when you see the depiction of Buddha, Buddha's ears are very long. Have you noticed it? Now Gandhiji's ears were like this. See, these are the ways in which we identify everyone. And we know the characteristic. So there is an analysis which was done in the past, in the ancient times, where they could interpret the human being by the way he is. So his body structure, his skin tones, various other things, that is how it is. You have heard of even palmistry. Palmistry means the study of your palms. Okay. Then there is something which they do which is called Nadi Shastra. Nadi Shastra is not the one which you know about. Nadi Shastra is, I have met a very great exponent of Nadi Shastra. He would study the Nadis. The Nadis are those very fine, your blood vessels and all that kind of a thing. Some people can read the face. You know very well that I was a very well-known person in Bangalore where I would interpret by means of a tarot. Now I know in this avatar I am not doing any of those things. But I learned palmistry from my own forefathers. All these ancient things. And by looking at a person, you should be able to make out who that person is and what is the nature of that person. So here there are all these sages and saints and masters sitting in front of Parikshit. And when they see Sukhdev coming from there, immediately they are able to understand. Even after he is not dressed for the occasion. See, what happens is, today's day and age, if you really want to identify a holy man, do you know how you identify? Because you don't understand these ancient methods of, prediction or whatever. So what do? You misinterpret people. You find people in orange color clothes, yellow color clothes, white color clothes, and immediately you say, oh, this must be a saint. Oh, this must be an enlightened person. This must be a sadhu. Well, that is not the way how it is identified. I want you to actually think logically in this sense. Logical. Be very logical in it. Okay? Now let us say logically, take a few examples. How was Ramakrishna Paramahansa dressed? Was he dressed in orange color clothes? Was he dressed in fancy kind of an attire, having a pagadi or something like that? I am sorry. The enlightened being like Ramakrishna Paramahansa was not dressed like that. Sometimes his dhoti used to fall off also. Now let us move to another person. Look at Ramana Maharshi. Have you ever noticed that Ramana Maharshi was dressed in simple clothes? Like a villager, you know. My forefathers used to stay with Sai Baba of Shirdi. Sai Baba of Shirdi was in no way dressed nattily. He used to wear kafni. Kafni means what? The cloth which is put on dead people. Kafan, kafani. You understand what I'm saying? That kind of a cloth, and it was tattered. See, I got my knowledge from my own forefathers, so I am telling you what they told me. He was dressed like that. I have met Nityananda Maharaj of Ganeshpuri. He used to wear just a langot. You know what a langot is? Just to cover the parts, of the body. That's it. He was not dressed nattily. These are enlightened masters. Siddharudha Swami of Hubli. Those who have gone over there will know him. Tukaram Maharaj. Have you thought that there was even a queen who was dressed in very simple clothes? She was not a Maharani. Okay? I am talking of Mirabai. A simple human being. So please understand, the enlightened masters never wear those kind of fancy garments. The fancy garments are only worn by those people who want to copy these kind of people. They are not the real ones. So don't fall for anybody who wears some fancy clothes. They are not enlightened in any way. Enlightenment doesn't mean that you give lengthy lectures. No way. Here is Sukhdev. He was dressed in tatters, as if he was a neglected person. And he was roaming on the roads just like that. Remember, he is an Avdhut. My Gurudev is an Avdhut. I met him many years ago. My Gurudev doesn't wear fancy clothes at all. My Gurudev Dattatreya dresses like an average human being, a roadside person, and you cannot even recognize him. He came to me as a 14 or a 15-year-old young man. For me, it was a great thing. I was able to see him, I was able to recognize him. Similarly, when I met Radharani, she was dressed in a different way. You think Radharani is going to show off who she is? No great people will show off. Sri Krishna also will appear in very simple garments. He will also appear in a very, nondescript kind of a way. So never be under this impression that they have to be wearing orange color clothes, having one mukut on top of their head, or having one flute in their hand. The Sri Krishna that I know about does not carry that flute with him in anywhere to be seen. And I have met many enlightened masters in my life. So I am telling you something which is first-hand knowledge. Even if the gods appear, they are not going to appear in fancy clothes. That fancy clothes is only for temples. This is a very false belief. A false belief. So kindly don't fall for it. When God appears in front of you, they will appear as a very simple person. It is not just in our religion, in all the religions of this world. Okay? The answer is that don't fall for all this jazz that is there around this world. Okay? So he did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status in life. As a Brahmana, they have a shikha and they have all their way of dressing up. He was that. And yet he never appeared like that. He appeared like a 16-year-old. Anybody who goes to the temple is thinking in terms of how God looks like. So the god has to be dressed nattily. He should have a crown on his head. And he should be sitting in a particular way. He should be standing in a particular way. Well, you don't have personal knowledge about God. When you go to the temple, what you see is only an image depicted by some human being. Never. Don't fall for it. They are not like that. God lives in your heart. See Him from your inner eyes. Then you will understand. A simple girl came to me. She was just 4 or 5 years old. Recently I was in a temple. A very small girl came and held my hand. And she took me around showing all the temples inside. How many recognized her as Lakshmi herself? She was dressed in a very simple child, not a rich child, a very poor child coming from a very poor household. Very simple clothes. She was clinging to me. She was telling me to hold me. Many people saw her. How many of you recognized her as Lakshmi? She was Sri Lakshmi herself. It is not easy to recognize her. According to your belief system, Lakshmi ji is dressed in a very, very fancy manner. Most of you depict her in Kanjivaram saris with a lot of gold and jewelry and all. And here is a small girl. So know who they are. These people cannot be recognized. So don't fall for these fake people in this world. If they wear some clothes and they stand in front of you, do some gestures, give lengthy lectures and all, don't fall for it. Even a college professor can give fantastic lectures. They are not enlightened masters. Okay? When you want to go to an enlightened master, go with the clarity. Okay? Go with simplicity, innocence, and look at it through the eyes of your innermost being. You will recognize that enlightened master. It's not easy to recognize a person. So, he came surrounded with women and children. Now, here the answer is, here is a Panditji. Around him are women and children. How does that sound? Well, you will fall for it. Oh, how can he do that? There is the problem. Then, he was a 16-year-old person. Naturally, a 16-year-old person is, very highly outgoing. His legs, hands, arms, shoulders, forehead and other parts of the body were delicately formed, which is to be understood. His eyes were beautifully wide and his nose and ears were highly raised. Look at today's 16-year-olds. They look like junkies. I met some 16-year-old. Their eyes were drooping. I am sleepy. They were sleepy. Always lost in computers and games. They are doing drugs. They are doing all kinds of nonsensical things. No. A truly enlightened person will be different looking. The eyes were beautifully wide and his nose and ears were highly raised. Now this is mentioned by Ramakrishna Paramahansa. What is mentioned by him is this. Anybody who has a defect in their face or their body, suppose the person is having some kind of a defect, body is like this, eyes are like that. It is identified by him and the scriptures that there is some kind of a problem with that person. Lots of times we meet children and people who are not able to see properly, talk properly, walk properly. Now, naturally, they have certain defects for some reason or the other. Even a case of Ashtavakra, those who know the story of Ashtavakra, He tried to back answer his father, Kaloha. Naturally, his father had cursed him. And that is why he was bent at 8 places. Ashtavakra. So, there is some error somewhere in the system. But those who are the enlightened ones, those who are born realized, Nitya Siddha, born realized. They are very, very beautiful in the way. Their eyes are very big. If you ever look into their eyes are big and wide. Their thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead and other parts are delicately formed. Their nose and ears are highly raised. Nose, ears. He was very attractive in the face and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell. His collarbone was fleshy, his chest was broad and thick, his navel was deep and his abdomen beautifully streaked. His arms were long and curly hair was strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked and the hue of his body reflected that of Krishna. Now, Krishna Varna. Krishna Varna is a dark color. The person is dark in color, shining dark. Not the flat dark or the dirty looking dark. They have a shining greyish tone on their body. So when you look at their body appears greyish. That is why if you have seen Sri Krishna is considered blue. Sri Ram is considered blue. Now let us come to this person. Sukhdev was a dark skinned. He had Krishna Varna, Krishna type of body color. Now in our world, in the world of all the fair people in the world, they look at dark people. I am not talking about the African type of dark people. Okay? I am no way connected with them. I am just telling you, the dark people, their tones, if they can match this kind of Sri Krishna's tones, they are very unique kind of people. Okay? So this is the way how his body was. And he was not dressed in any clothes at all. Okay? He was naked. Now, only an avdhuta can go naked, or madman can go naked. A normal human being wants to cover himself up. Have you noticed it? How many clothes you want to cover up? You see, in the chill of Himalayas also, these people are not dressed. Look at all the people who are staying abroad. Layers and layers and layers and layers of clothes they are wearing. Isn't it? These are enlightened masters. They don't even need to wear a single cloth on their body. Ramakrishna Paramahansa never wore anything. Sometimes he was just like that only. Sometimes he was wearing a dhoti. They would go like that. And the world looks at it. If somebody goes naked, one of the persons that I know recently, he lost his mind or something like that, going to one temple, and suddenly in the middle of the street, he removed all his clothes and started running around. Okay. And what happened to this person was, he was beaten up by the villagers and then he was lost in this world. Nobody could, he lost his own consciousness. He had no idea who he was. After many days, see, this happened in Bengal. Okay, and all these villagers, they trashed him. His entire legs and hands were broken. One Muslim person took pity on him and took him home. Gave him food and all that and tried to make him calm and all that. And in a few days, he realized, he started recognizing his father's number. And by the way, he had gone and he had buried the phone and his purse and every identification in one construction site. Now in construction site, if say cement falls on it, how is he supposed to know? And he had erased his identity. So suddenly he remembered his father's name. So this Muslim person, he called up his father and said, I will bring your son to Calcutta. And he came over there and took this person back. A normal person going around naked on the streets will get trashed. An enlightened person going on the streets like that, you may not even know. So he was dressed like that. His collarbone was fleshy. His chest was broad and thick. First and foremost, these people, they have broad shoulders. Their chest is wide. Now you may say, he is not eating anything. How can he have a broad shoulders and, wide chest and all that? No. This is how they are built. Okay. Abdomen beautifully striped. His arms were long. When we say arms were long, my grandmother used to always tell me, Sai Baba of Shirdi had Ajan Bahu. Ajan Bahu means his hands were so long, they would touch the knee. Does your hand touch the knee? So only these great people, they have some very unique body features. And his hair was curly and strewn over the beautiful face. He was, now this is the next verse, that is verse 28, he was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and the attractive smiles, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages present there, all expert in the art of physiognomy. And so they honored him by raising from their seats. See, understand, I was just now telling you that the study of the human body and the way it is made is called the physiognomy. It's a subject matter. All these great sages and saints are experts in that. They can recognize a person from far. They don't need to see that person close up. Okay? They look at their face and they immediately recognize the person. Many people come here. They don't need to introduce themselves also. Many years ago, one person came to I used to have stores. So he came to my store and he was trying to con me. I looked at him and I told him, why are you cheating your wife? He says, what are you talking? This is nonsense. I said, no. And that too, you are cheating with a man. That man, he literally bowed down and touched my feet. He says, how do you know that? Sir, it is very easy to recognize a person like that. So, and that is how it works. So now think on those lines. Most of these great sages, saints, gods and all, they are dark in color. Even if you look at Shiva, you see Shiva, though he is very fair, but when he puts all that, ash on his body, doesn't he look shiny, greyish tone? That is how he is. So Shiva may be fair, but when his appearance comes with that blue thing over here, he appears darkish in tone. So understand this. Got it? So he is always very beautiful to look at. He had the glamour in him. See, all these great people, they have a glamour, but they don't show it to the world. In most of the pictures that you see of all these great people, have you noticed they show that halo around their head or behind their head? You have seen, no? Now, what is this halo around their head? The halo around their head basically depicts divinity in them. Divinity. But how many people can recognize divinity? Hardly anyone can recognize divinity. So to recognize the divinity, you have to be divine yourself. Then you can recognize divinity. One day when I was walking on the streets of Vrindavan, I saw Radharani standing over there and smiling. I immediately told Rajma, do you know who she is? There she is, standing over there and smiling at me. Look at her. How many people can recognize Radharani in that attire? She was dressed like a 10 or 11-year-old girl. You cannot recognize her. So it's like that. So they come very inconspicuously. Inconspicuous is the word. God comes in an inconspicuous manner. He's not going to announce, oh, the great God is coming and all those blaring of the sounds and all. Nothing like that happens. Even when Dattatreya, he came out from that lake, he had 2 women on his arms and a bottle of liquor. How many people can recognize him like that? Immediately the thought process says, oh, look at him. Is Dattatreya or what? See? You make judgments on this. So don't ever make judgments on God. He may appear whichever way. So in the same manner, he has appeared, but he had an attractive smile on his face. The smile is always very attractive. And he was pleasing to women. You see, Krishna is, remember, Sukhdev is Krishna's only avatar, alright? So naturally all women are attracted to him. It is nothing but Goloka's representation on earth. Why are they attracted to him? No idea. They are all called gopis. When Sri Krishna would be there in Vrindavan, all the gopis would come running to him. For what reason? It is an attraction. So like that they are. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the sage is present over there, understood this. You have to be a knowledgeable person yourself to understand. Now let us say today, you are meeting a person who is a highly evolved intellectual. What are you going to talk to him? Nothing. Unless and until you are in that subject matter, how will you understand? You know, there is one English bibliophile, called Shashi Tharoor in India. You know that person. Some of you know that person. Now, if I have to meet him, I don't know what I'm going to speak because my English is not as great as his. He may say some word, I may look blank at him. You understand what I'm saying? The person may have a great knowledge of English. I may have zero knowledge of English. That is the funny part about it. But in spirituality, there is a big difference. And this is one difference which you should listen to. You see, spiritually enlightened people will show that they are duffers. That they don't have any knowledge. When you go to them and meet them also, they will say, I don't know. I never know. I am not studied. First and foremost, they will not even quote all those, scriptures which people quote. Have you noticed all the people who are the wannabe kind of people, they will quote in the Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter and in this verse, this is mentioned. And if you talk to these great masters, enlightened masters, the enlightened masters like say, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the first thing that he said, sir, I don't know Sanskrit, number one. I know only Bengali. Okay? I know only Bengali, I don't know Sanskrit and I have never read the scriptures. Now I ask you the question. Today's great Maharathis of this world, they quote from scriptures. Do you think they are enlightened? No. But when you put a scripture in front of them, their knowledge flows like Ganga. Sai Baba, one day when he was sitting over there, in front of him was one great person and he asked some question on the Bhagavad Gita. And Sai Baba gave a lengthy explanation on that. He had never read the Bhagavad Gita in his life. You got what I'm saying? These people don't read. These people are not at all the experts in Sanskrit and all that. And yet they are enlightened masters. Got it or no? So here you will find that these people are great masters, But you should not go to them with the idea that they will be able to talk to you in fluent Sanskrit. You know, a parrot can talk in Sanskrit if he is taught. These enlightened masters are least bothered about it. It is okay. You don't need to know. Enlightenment is nothing like a qualification. It's only God's grace. Got it? We do the next verse now, verse 29. Maharaj Parikshit, who is also known as Vishnu Rata, who is also protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest Sukhdev Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant boys and women ceased following Srila Sukhdev, received respect from all. Sukhdev Goswami took his exalted seat. Next verse, verse 30, Sukhdev Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods. Just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets and other heavenly bodies, his presence was gorgeous and he was respected by all. So immediately over there when he comes, okay, Parikshit recognizes him and requests him very, very humbly to come, and he receives him over there. All the people stand up to receive. They give respect to Sukhdev. And the women and the children who were following, they all stand at the side. Now here is Sukhdev being welcomed by the king himself. And by all the people around him, they are bowing their heads. Remember, there are not only sages and saints and disciples and the public, but also gods are there. How many people can see gods? Hardly anybody. Gods appear only in their spiritual body, okay, which is not visible to human beings. They don't appear visibly. Physically, they can't appear, because they all come in subtle bodies. Only the sages and saints can see them. Great masters can see them. So they are also seeing Sukhdev and they all bow down to him. And they receive him and they give him an exalted seat. Always offer an high seat to a great individual. Do not ask him to sit down. So in case if you are calling some great person in your house, give him a seat on top and you sit down at a lower. When Gautam Buddha used to give the great talks, he would be seated on a very high exalted seat. Below him were all his other people. All his other associates were down below. And below them there were others. And then right round him on the right and the left hand side, 500 people were there. So about 1,000 people. And in front of him used to be the entire congregation of people. This is how it was. And this is how the sutras got written. Alright? So, there is a gradation. The gradation is always the arhats. Arhats means the sadhakas. Sadhakas are the starters. Okay? They are just started. Then there are bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas are up to the level of enlightenment. They have not reached enlightenment. They are just on the threshold. So from arhat to bodhisattva is a long way. So they are placed on the right hand side of Buddha. Below him are enlightened masters. There are some enlightened masters sitting, and on top Buddha used to sit. So this is how. So always offer the highest seat to a master. You don't sit higher than him. This is the way in which the world has to be seen. So they were surrounded by saintly sages, demigods, as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous and he was respected by all. So you have to give him that respect. When a person like that enters into your field, you have to first wash his feet, offer him, water for drinking purposes. You have to give him tambul and all that. That is tambul. Basically, the rice and all those things, the grains can be offered, and flour at the feet and all those kind of things. This is basically how the methods are. So, then we do the next verse 31. The sage Sri Sukhdev sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Parikshit approached him, offered his respect by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. This is how you have to behave in front of great masters. So Sukhdev Goswami was seated on a high seat. He was pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer. That means he was in a very peaceful state. There is no agitation in that person. And anything that was asked to him, he would answer without hesitation. So Parikshit Maharaj approached Sukhdev and offered his respect, bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. The first thing that you got to inquire about them was, how was their journey? Are they tired? Can we offer you something to eat? Those kind of things. So basically, it's an etiquette that you need to follow. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us unto places of pilgrimage. By all your presence here are my guests. Be your mercy. We who are unworthy royalty becomes eligible to serve the devotee. See here the knowledge that is given. When a great person comes to your place, most important part is to welcome him in a very, very sanctified manner, in a very great manner, offering an arti and all those kind of things. Please understand, this is very important. Their feet gracing your house or your place has got much more value than even a minister or some ordinary person coming and doing inauguration in your house. Please understand this. They are great people. Their feet carry the entire essence of this universe, and when they grace your place, that place becomes sanctified. Many a times, have you not seen even in places like Pithapuram and various other places, Gangapur and all, what is it that they keep over there to worship? You know what they keep over there? Those are called padukas. The padukas are covering their pada, the feet. The padukas become holy because their feet is in that paduka. So when you are offered, when paduka comes to you, suppose, see, my forefathers also were having those, now everything is gone. So the padukas, they are respected. So when these great sages and saints come, some of them don't even wear any padukas or anything like that. They may come barefoot also. So first, the entire rivers and the whole universe is at their feet. Worship their feet. That is extremely important. And if you are lucky, you will get a paduka from them. Or sometimes people come and put some shawls and things like that. And when you take that shawl, see, when you go to the temple, all these Punjabis and North Indians, have you seen that they go to some temple somewhere and they get that red color cloth, that jig, that kind of a thing, golden, red color, and they tie it in their cars and they put it in their house and all. Have you noticed it? That is a kind of an offering given to the gods over there. So what they do is they bring it and they put it in their car and they put it in their house and all these places. So you can do that as well. So here also it's the same thing. You have to put it in a certain way. Now, very funny 2 examples I will give you. Now, these examples are funny because one day, as I told you, I went to Kamareddy. Okay. And I guess nobody recognized. So I was sitting with the crowds. So when I was sitting with the crowds over there, Swami Riyananda looks at me and he says, Guruji, please come over here. And he arranged a chair with cushions and everything and put one cloth on top of it and he made me sit over there. And then he asked for somebody to get water and flowers and all that. So that is what happened over there. A similar thing happened when I was visiting Mohanji. In Mohanji's place, I was just wandering inside. There was an entire chair kept ready with muslin cloth and cushions and stuff like that. And all that was lying ready, and the moment I came inside, same thing was done. Please understand, these people, they recognize something. You honor that recognition, you recognize that and you honor that. Why? It is important to do so. So when he came, when Parikshit saw Sukhdev come and sit over there, naturally the honor was given. See, these people are very strange people, okay, like Sukhdev and all. They don't go anywhere. And sometimes they can go to some places. And when they go to that places, there are two things which they do over there. One is they sanctify the place, or the second one is they destroy the place. Both these things happen. Because remember, they are the divinity themselves. Why they go over there, nobody understands. So here you will find that naturally Parikshit is welcoming him. So Parikshit is saying to him, by your mercy you have sanctified us, making us unto the place of pilgrimage. So that place becomes a pilgrim center. So wherever he has come and put his feet over there, it becomes a pilgrim center. You see, if you go to any temple anywhere, all of you must have visited some temples. Now, when you visited a temple where the Narayana is there, you will find that there is a place behind where now he is sleeping like this, he is sleeping like this. His feet are on one side, correct? Now, when you go outside the temple, there is a place where his foot marks are there. That becomes a very important place. So if you go to Balaji's temple in Tirupati, go and worship those feet over there. If you go to even, in say Sri Lanka, there is a place where the feet of Hanumanji is there. You know this? There is another place very close by 100 kilometers from here called Lepakshi. I don't know how many of you know about Lepakshi. In Lepakshi you will find the feet, the mark of the feet over there. You pray to that. So the feet, wherever they touch, that place becomes sanctified. Sanctification happens. Alright? So you have sanctified us, make us unto a place of pilgrimage. So that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. All by your presence here as my guest. So here he is saying, you have come over here and you have sanctified this place. You have made this place most holy. By your mercy, we who are unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotee. See, the Kshatriyas and other people, they are calling themselves unworthy because they are not from that particular caliber or category. So when such great sages and masters visit that place, they bow down to them. I visited the king of Tanjore many times rather. This person is the king of Tanjore. He is the 21st descendant of Shivaji Maharaj. So when I visited him, literally his whole family came and fell at my feet. A great person like a Maharaja from the lineage of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj bowing down was a great thing. That is important. Why is it important? Because to get the grace itself is important. So, the king was very cordial, offered seat and all that kind of thing. There was no arrogance, there was nothing which showed that he is some great master and king and all that, nothing like that. A very humble human being. He told me that the day I, make the temple, he wants to come and visit me in the temple because he wants to take the grace of that place. It is a great thing. It is something which is important. And that is why these royalties bow down to the masters. And here is Parikshit actually doing that. Become eligible to serve the devotee. So they have to become eligible to serve the devotee. Not everybody is entitled to serve the devotee. See, please understand one thing. These sages cannot be served by everybody. No. Some people who are egotists par excellence, they will stand with their nose up in the air and don't even want to look at that person. They meet their end in that manner, okay? So don't bother your head about it. So there are lots of people who are arrogant and who think no end of themselves. But eligibility is important. So if you bow down and if you are touching the feet and if you are honoring and if you are doing all those things, your eligibility is there. So here is King Parikshit telling the world how eligible he is because he was able to, wash the feet of Sukhdev and give him the seat and offer him something over there. And this is how you treat great masters. So we have come to the end of verse 32 and we will stop over here for today.